What's good, y'all? It's me, Chris. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the Olivia Jade interview that took place on Red Table Talk. But before we get into that, I just want to take a moment and say shout out to y'all. I am so thankful for all of my subscribers and people who follow me across all my social media platforms. If you made it to the end of my last video, I put out a call of action, a call of help. I needed help in getting my rent taken care of, and y'all really showed out. People across Twitter and Instagram and YouTube was able to cover my rent for the month of December. So thank y'all so much. I'm so appreciative. I'm so grateful. I know that this is hard times for everyone right now, so I want to say thank you for everyone who found a place in their spirit to give whatever they could. I was appreciative for everything. I think that's a lot of times we don't really realize how much those little donations add up. Anybody who donated 5, 10, whatever, I was just appreciative that people found the desire in their heart to look out for me, and that's what we've been doing during this pandemic. So I say shout out to y'all. Thank you so much. Y'all don't even know how much relief that brought to me. I'm able to be in here for another month, and I can have a bit of clear mind, especially with finals coming up. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I stay venting about stats on Twitter. Everybody fucking knows that I hate that goddamn class and stats. We have about a week and a half left. We're almost done, but shout out to y'all. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. The actions do not go unnoticed. I so grateful. I can't say thank you enough. I appreciate it. I know everyone is not in a position to give, but just sending your well wishes and just sending any type of encouragement also just uplifted me that day, and I'm very grateful. Had a great birthday, lovely time. Thank you so much. Also, would have filmed this video a little earlier, but I wanted to look cute for this video, so I got a haircut, and here we are now. So we're going to be discussing Jada, Gammy, Willow, and Olivia Jade on this episode of the Red Table Talk. Before we get into the actual Olivia Jade interview, I want to discuss Jada Pinkett-Smith, that whole team over there at the Red Table Talk, and I'm really just getting sick of this show essentially just being the Red Redemption Table. People in Hollywood who say the most violent things, Jada makes it her mission to be a Captain Save-A-Ho and come on and humanize them. Constantly. We've seen it with T.I. when he was being a huge misogynist with his daughter. When Snoop Dogg was also being a misogynist towards Oprah and Gayle. And I didn't even know while I was researching some notes for this video that Ice Cube appeared on the show recently as well. It's a constant place in which they center the most violent people, the people with the most power, the people with the most privilege, instead of talking about the marginalized communities, instead of talking about the people who need a healing, who need the affirming the most. That's what we're on. So it's okay, fine. I guess Jada Pinkett Smith at this point is just going to be a stop for the Hollywood elite to come on and try to atone themselves. It's confusing to me, but I'm just going to have to accept that this is the type of platform in which the Jada and Red Table Talk show is. So for those of y'all that aren't familiar with the Olivia Jade situation, I'll just do a brief catch up. So Olivia Jade is the daughter of Lori Loughlin. She is an actress who played on Becky on Full House. Her father is Mossimo. He's a fashion designer, and last year they were caught up in a college admission scandal in which Olivia Jade's parents paid $500,000 to get her into USC. Also had her posing for role photos as well, essentially just put on this facade to get her into this prestigious school. As well as Olivia Jade has a huge online presence because she is a YouTuber here on this fellow platform. So we get to the interview, and Gammy, Jada, and Willow are discussing how they feel about Olivia Jade coming on the show before Olivia Jade makes her appearance. We find out that from Jada that Olivia and her team had reached out to the show and discussed if she could come on and explain her side of the story, and Gammy was just so perplexed by this, as was I. I was Gammy this whole entire interview until to the latter of it, and we're going to get into that. But you coming on this platform is the epitome of white privilege. The notion of you to go through this and now coming over to 3 black women and you looking for some type of safety when y'all don't even give that same type of space for black women in y'all spaces. It's not clicking for me. And so then Jada was like, well, that's not fair. I don't want to be what what white women do to us. Like, I want to be able to have compassion. And it's like Jada over here with these false equivalences is just not making any sense. White women and black women are not the same. That's why she's going onto the platform to have the conversation. That's why we're at where we're at now. That's why there was such a problem in what her parents participated in, because of the differences in which it is to exist in this world as a black woman and as a white woman. Like, I never want to do what a white woman does to us, and you never will be able to. You will never be able to gain the power and privileges under the guise of white supremacy and be able to inflict the same type of harm. That just won't happen. I'm so sick. Yes, we are working to a place of equality, but we are not equal. I cannot harm and impact the lives of white people the same ways in which whiteness and white people impacts my life every single day. And that is frustrating. So I already knew with Jada vocalizing those type of sentiments where the conversation was going to go, what type of tone, what type of stage she was setting for Olivia just to come out and just share her grievances with us. It's just like, there's no compassion for no rich, white, privileged person. Not for my black ass. You want my oppressed ass to come out here giving you compassion and empathy when I live before a world that would literally pay me dust? No. No, 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 no. No compassion from a black person. Not from this black person. This interview is so calculated. Like, Olivia Jade and her team, whoever decided to reach out to the Red Table Talk, knew exactly what they were doing. It's giving very much in the same vein as when it was discovered that Kevin Hart had a bunch of homophobic tweets. And what did he do? He went to Ellen DeGeneres, the most well-known, probably the most well-liked gay person in the entire planet. It was like, okay, let me go to that community that I offended and play nice with them and show, like, see, I can get along with the fags. I wasn't really being homophobic. It's like to get the seal of approval from Ellen DeGeneres to show, like, see, he's not homophobic. The gay person said otherwise. This is the exact same thing that Olivia Jade and her team is doing. Go to the black women, go to the people who you impacted the most, who your family impacted the most by your actions, by their actions, by their own willfully aware actions, and then play nice to them and see, well, see, like, the niggers like her now. They brought her on in. The niggers like her. Come on now, Will Smith and Jada Smith are one of the most well-known, well-respected black couples in Hollywood. Of course she went to the Red Table Talk to talk to them. Of course. Of course. This to me was a pure act out of solidarity. Rich people don't give a fuck about our broke asses. They are more invested in protecting other rich people. Jada said at the beginning of the interview before Olivia came out, this so much reminds me of Willow and Jaden. Completely taking out the race component and just thinking about the class solidarity. Jada is out here looking like an op, y'all. Jada is out here looking like an op. It reminds me of my Obama video in which I said, like, y'all care too much about whiteness. Like, who are we centering our politics around when we're acting towards steps of liberation? If you're talking about you're fighting for the black people, why are we centering this whole ass white woman? Like, you can't appease whiteness when you're trying to work towards the steps of liberating black people. I don't give a fuck about what shame you feel in your privilege. Like, go to therapy. Don't go to black people. The labor that Gammy and Jada gave towards Olivia Jade is the shit that white people should be doing amongst white people. That is not my responsibility and my labor for you to acknowledge your privilege, show how you to talk about how you show up in this world and what the things you need to do better. The more conscious white people need to be doing that amongst each other. Like, y'all need to talk to each other about white privilege, not to my black ass. I feel the grunt of it every single day of your privilege. I don't need to know that you know that you just discovered it yesterday. So let's get into the interview. And as far as what Olivia Jade had to say, I literally don't care. There was nothing in this interview that was insightful. There was nothing that I found to be moving. There was nothing in this interview that changed my perception about how I felt Olivia Jade as a whole. If anything, it just reaffirmed my feelings about this white woman. This whole entire interview was just her talking about, like, I know what white privilege is, but I didn't know about white privilege. And I was so oblivious. And I'm so sorry. Please don't hate me. I want my brand deals back. Like, I don't care. It was all just, I just want to go back to not being hated. It was giving me like Chloe Halle, forgive me, forgive me. Like, just trying to downplay the seriousness of it. Like, no, your parents gave $500,000. Like, people will not even see that in their whole entire lifespans. Like, you posed for photos. You made up fake photos for you to get into the school. Like, what you did was very much harmful. And with this interview, they were empathizing with her way too much, like agreeing with her and sympathizing with her, and oh yeah, like as if she was saying something like so profound. Like, all she was just acknowledging her privilege. Like, whose was this interview for? Like, why are we stroking her ego so much? Who is this for? It's not for my black ass who's in college and dealing with financial aid and dealing with getting funded and dealing with any type of the resources, being a black person in this college system. What was it for? Like, Jada and the rest of them, they didn't go deep enough. All the questions were so surface, and I knew, like I said earlier, that that was not going to be the tone of this interview. But damn, we didn't. She wasn't uncomfortable aside from being nervous on camera. Like, none of her questions pushed. None of them made her uncomfortable. None of them made her really dig. She never really even named the harm in which what she did. Like, why didn't we talk about the students in which that can't get into these schools because these white, rich, privileged people fill up their spots and take advantage and use their wealth like it's nothing, like it's this goddamn superpower that it is. Like, can we not talk about education system and the prison pipeline? What is Olivia Jade doing as a form of restitution for her wrongdoings? Like, oh, she went to go talk to some kids at an after school program and she realizes like it's way worse than what she thought it was. Like, girl, if you don't get away somewhere with these white tears, I don't want it. We didn't even talk about, we barely went into the intersections of race and class. We barely touched class for show. We barely touched class because, you know why? Three rich people at that table are benefiting from class. So do we really expect them to really dig deep into this? Child, no. If anything, I guess this interview will now be a catalyst for Olivia Jade to be forgiven. Now she will go on and get her brand endorsement deals. Now people have this interview to point to and say, look, it's all resolved. Like, even at the end of the interview, even Gammy was fucking falling for it. Like, oh, you know, I didn't want to say anything, but your suit looks so cute. And they was like, oh, yeah, we didn't know if this was appropriate, but you look good. And Olivia, it's just like, Olivia sitting there smiling, like, oh, thank you. I just don't want you to be, I just didn't want to be hated by you all. And it's like, that's what you were concerned about. You were not concerned about the marginalized black and brown people who have difficulty getting into college and what your parents did. You just don't want to be hated. And then Gammy's like, yeah, it's not about you. It's about the situation. No, it is about you. It's about you. You cannot remove yourself from your whiteness, from your privilege. Like, you are part of the problem. It just all feels so performative and egotistical, this interview, and I don't know what we were supposed to do with this. I don't know what Jada and the team is doing over there at Red Table Talk, aside from being an op to white supremacy, quite frankly. That's all the thoughts that I have for this video. I would love to hear what y'all think about it. Please leave your comments down below. Like I said, once again, thank y'all so much for showing me so much love through the comments, through energies, through the donations. They're very much appreciative over here in this part of the internet. If you enjoyed this video, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the Crispy Noah family, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.